The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, and welcome to The Loft. I'm Kathy Bailey-Smith, one of your hosts, along with our beautiful and talented host, Amber Logue and Andrea Sebastian. Hey, ladies, how are you?
Good. We're good. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. We have a great show scheduled for you today. We will be seeing that it is the new year, talking to a fitness expert, a certified personal trainer, Andrea. She'll be joining us shortly after the girls and I talk a little bit about the new year and what we're doing this winter. So I thought it would be kind of fun, seeing that we are now into 2016, to talk a little bit about maybe some goals or things that we're hoping to plan for the upcoming year. So I don't know if you guys have anything yet on the calendars, but I wanted to throw it out there. You?
On the calendar. I don't have anything in concrete yet, but my biggest resolution, if you want to call it, goal for the year, I always do very kind of vague so I can fit in more stuff. But mine was just to live a fuller, happier year.
Yep.
And fill that with whatever it may be. So for me, it's going to be more quality time well spent, quality time well spent, and not just busy time. Getting some stuff done around the house, some projects. I have to put up a new fence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fun. Finish painting some rooms. Just finish, the goal is finish 2 rooms. Pick them, finish them, be done.
Right.
Take my dog to the dog park.
Just things that bring you joy.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Instead of the craziness of everyday life.
And really think about when things are coming your way, and all of us, we get hit with so many different activities and this and that, and we have the habit of, I think we all do the habit of just saying yes because we want to do it and we want to keep saying yes. So to really evaluate it, and if it's not a heck yes, then it's a no. And
so did you
it.
sit down and think about this, or was it just something that came to you, okay, the year's coming up, this is kind of how I want to live, or did you really put some thought into that?
No, not at all. It's I'm not one to make a New Year's resolution. If I want to change something, I don't wait for a new year. I just keep going. I just change it as I go. And it's not really about a New Year's resolution as much as it is an additional way to live your life. So it's not just a change for this year. This is something I want to really incorporate more this year that I needed to work on from last year. So what about you?
Well, it's interesting because this was the first year that we actually slept through the ball dropping. And, I guess, also with Christmas this year, for some reason, I really never got motivated to get involved in it, which was really strange because all my kids were coming home, and usually I'm like, I've got to decorate, I've got to bake, I've got to, and this year I was like, I'm not feeling it. And I guess because as I'm getting older, things are happening so much quicker. And I was kind of going, I haven't recovered from putting it away last year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it was really bothering me. And so finally, I guess maybe the 2 weeks before everyone was coming in and everything, I was like, no, come on. This is exciting. You're going to see everybody. We're all going to be together and stuff. And it kind of made me think that I'm not really appreciating, I guess, as much as I should, and taking a lot of things for granted, which I don't really think is normally what I do. So I was kind of in a little funk. And
around Christmas is what you're
around
saying.
Christmas, which is really unusual for me. And I started to really, I think, take more personally people around me, how they were feeling, because then I was not, I guess I almost felt guilty that I was so full of joy because it was Christmas. And I was like, I know so many people who weren't feeling it this year. And you know how I'm like, Merry Christmas. And everyone's like, Happy Holidays. And I'm like, I hate these big issues. Can't we just, if we say Merry Christmas, just accept it? And if you say Happy Holidays, thank you, you too. I don't know, it just was a whole big thing. So going forward into 2016, which I must say, January hasn't been that great so far. I find I'm still kind of, and this weather's not
helping. I know, right?
And it's funny because I love the snow, but I'm just like, it's just cold. I just don't like that, So I don't know. It's a weird funk for me, which is totally out of character for how I normally live my life. So it's interesting.
Right.
It's a work in progress, as always.
And that's kind of like how, as you guys know, I do coaching. So I talk to people all the time about what they're doing and where they're at and what they want to do and about goals. And I find for myself personally and professionally when I'm talking to people that it's usually those times that are the impetus for big change. So you always kind of need, for something big to happen, it's usually around, it starts with kind of what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
It starts with a funk. It starts with, something's just a little off. It starts, so that's usually the impetus for something big. That means something big's coming for you.
Well, I'm
It forces
hoping.
you to look. It forces you to look inside and really evaluate what is important to you, what matters, what doesn't matter, what no longer serves you, that is around you, and you just let those things go and you focus on what does bring you joy and what makes you happy, which then propels you into what you're saying, into something maybe not even big, but just something different and more true to yourself and your own purpose.
Right, and so it could mean for you kind of exploring things that you haven't really done, and that you might find very satisfying and joyful, and so I always find that those were probably the most transformative times for me, were those periods where I was just kind of and then it would
Something falls into place. Kind of
exactly,
thing.
and it caused me to pause and say, okay, let's reevaluate. Where am I? What am I doing? What's not working? What is working? What So those are always good times, I think, because they're kind of like that space. You know how things go dormant in winter. It's kind of like that. You go a little dormant. I enjoy that. I kind of like that feeling where you kind of lay low for the winter.
Well, and I guess that's true, but like for me personally, I can't remember a time it's been like that.
Right.
So it's weird.
Yeah.
It might, a lot of people, they experience it in their 20s. Nope. 30s, nope. 40s, nope.
Right.
And I'm in my early 50s, and I'm like, finally.
There you are. We're waiting for you.
Like I'm finally like out of my little bubble of, life in general, and people are like, oh, okay. I'm
So
sort of,
how do you want to change it then?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Just sit back.
I guess I'm just looking forward to what can happen in 2016. There's been some good things that I've heard that are happening that I'm excited for.
Right.
But I guess we'll see. I didn't win the lottery.
I know that darn Powerball.
So, which I laughed. There was a man in the store when I was buying my tickets, and he was like, how do you buy this? My wife told me I couldn't come home unless I bought a Powerball because it's our retirement fund. And I had to laugh because I love how people get so caught up in it. But I wouldn't have a problem if I won the regular 15 million.
Right. Or even a million.
Right? Like if you you don't play until it's like your odds are really, really impossible. And it's like, oh, sign me up. Like it's so silly.
That was unbelievable when you think about $1.6 billion. Like I can't even wrap my head around
And I don't think
that.
anyone could, because when you would talk to people, what would you do? They'd be like, well, I might quit my job. And you're like, you have no concept as to how much money this is. I mean, you'd have to probably speed dial Oprah and go, yo, girl, how do we live with this much money?
Exactly.
Because
You
no
can run
one's...
for president.
Well, there you go.
I mean, that's one way.
Yeah. Now, did you buy tickets?
Yeah.
I did too.
Just because
I
it's one
never
of those
buy
things,
tickets.
it's fun. You're just like, sure, why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean...
And the mentality is someone's got to win. So
Yeah.
maybe it's me. I don't know.
Sure.
But I never buy a lot, and I did. Of course I did.
Yeah.
I had the kids pick out numbers. Okay, you pick out 6, and you pick out 6, and
Yeah.
So, but of course we didn't win anything. But I was happy to see that there were 2 $50,000 winners in Nashua.
Oh,
I was
okay,
really
I didn't
happy.
see that. Okay,
Yeah, there were
that's
2.
fun.
One was bought at the Nashua Shell Station on Amherst Street, and one
Okay.
was at Hannaford.
Oh, nice.
So I was really excited to see that. I was like, good for them.
Yeah,
darn
that's
it's not
fun.
me, but good for them.
yeah. Do I know them?
I know, right. They taking me out to dinner?
So what about you? What do you have going on for this year?
I think for me, I'm kind of like you in that, like, I don't wait for a new year to start to make change or think about what's ahead. For me, though, I would say, and this is why I'm excited about the show, fitness and health are really top priorities for me. I don't know if I told you guys, but I was recently diagnosed as pre-diabetic. It runs in my family. So I have to really start thinking and taking more seriously, like, what I put in my body and what I do with my body, where before I've never had that issue. So I've been much more cognizant and going forward saying, okay, this is my time to start living more of a healthy lifestyle. Not that I wasn't before, necessarily, but just more conscious of what I'm doing. And I think when you start paying attention, which I've started to pay attention, really missing the bread and the pasta, because those are like my favorite things, but when you start to pay attention, you're like, wow, is so much processed food. Like, and when you really start to eat clean, it's amazing. You know, so I'm seeing that change, but that's probably like my biggest goal for the year. And then always kind of doing the things that I do. I do a lot of self-reflection and always trying to grow and evolve and, you know, hopefully be the best person that I can be for my kids and everyone else around me. I mean, simple, silly things, but I guess meaningful for me.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of what I'm thinking for the new year. And I think it's going to be a great year. I really do. I think, you know, 2016, who thought when the year 2000, remember the newspapers, that everyone was concerned about the crash of all the computers and technology. And 16 years later, think how quickly that went by. So I'm just really excited. I think there are good things ahead, you know.
And thankfully, we'll have voted in a new president, and we could not have to watch all these ads on TV.
Oh my gosh, I know, right? Because the primaries
I stopped watching TV. I'm like, you know what,
It's exhausting every day.
And I do care, but I'm like, I can't care yet.
Yeah. Well, you don't even know who you're caring for.
Exactly.
Yet.
Like,
you know?
I don't have enough space in
The person
here
you
or
may
in here to figure that out
potentially be caring
yet.
for may not even have a chance. You know, it's like they're not even like it's crazy. It's exhausting.
It really
I don't
is
know how they
kind
do
of.
it. And it's getting
Emotionally.
so ugly, and you're just
Yeah.
like, really, guys, you're supposed to set an example, and like, oh,
Well,
I
that's
don't know.
why I feel bad for future, you know, generations, like our children and our children's children, and you think like these are role models to some degree, you know, and
It's funny because I saw this, somebody posted this quote and it said, we used to listen to politicians and laugh at comedians. Now we laugh at politicians and listen to comedians. And I was like, and it really stopped me. I was like, wow, how true is that? We now go as a valid source of information to a comedian instead of a politician.
Right.
And so it'll be interesting to see how that changes over the next, you know, decade. Hopefully it will, you know, go back in reverse.
Yeah, I think if they stand up and they do their job like they should, you know, I mean, I don't know if you guys are following the Flint, Michigan water crisis, but I mean, you know, that whole, it's all contaminated water, and they've been drinking it for like over 9 months.
oh, I did hear, yes,
Yeah.
I
I
did,
mean,
yes.
these kids can have, you know, this disabling developmental issues and things like this, and it all came down to trying to save money for the, you know, and who made those decisions? Politicians. And you're just like, they're not believable, you know? So it's hard.
They've
Tough
lost their
one.
credibility. So, I
Yep.
mean, it's kind of, it's a challenge. And I think so many Americans right now are so frustrated with negative ads and negative information and not knowing who they can trust.
Yep.
And I like to believe, because I'm the rose-colored glasses kind of girl, but I like to believe that everyone gets involved in politics for the right reasons, and then sometimes they get lost. Not all of them, but sometimes they get lost along the way. But you know, it's really interesting to see how this plays out. But I know a lot of other people who are feeling the same way we are.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we're
The whole country.
well, the whole country of people.
Not just locally. The whole country.
Well, on that note, we're going to take a short break and come back and learn how to be fit this year for 2016. Stay tuned.
Only 10% of us get enough daily exercise. And that number is dropping. Nearly 30% of us are overweight or obese. We spend 6 hours a day in front of a screen. As a result, we now have a shorter life expectancy than our parents. But give us the right start in sports, and we'll never stop. Learn how at active4life.ca.
Hi, and thank you for rejoining us here at the Loft. If you're just tuning in, we are sitting down with a certified personal trainer who's going to share some tips about getting healthy for 2016. Andrea Schott, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And the ladies here at the Loft.
Yes. I'm excited to talk to you guys.
I know. Well, you know, I thought it would be great, and we chatted about it, to have someone that can give us some guidance and support about how to be healthy in 2016. I know it's a goal for many people.
A lot of people, resolutions.
Exactly.
It's going to be the year.
Exactly. And I thought we could start with your story and how you got into fitness to begin with, because I know it's kind of interesting.
Okay, thank you. So I have 2 kids, so I'll let you know right now I'm 45. I have 2 kids. When my second child was born in 2005, like most new moms, you know, you kind of have this baby weight hanging around, and about a year later, I decided that it was time to do something about it. So I hooked up with one of my close friends from high school who actually was doing personal training, and she was working towards a goal of competing in a fitness competition, which I was like, yeah, that's great for you. You have no kids, all kinds of time. Good for you. I just want to lose this loose baby weight. So I started working out with her, and then I made progress, probably lost about 10 pounds, started feeling a lot better, and then I was like, well, you know what, I'm gonna hook up with the coach that you're working with, because she just looked amazing. So I started working with a fitness competitor coach. Again, with no intention of ever competing, ever getting on a stage. That was never something that I ever dreamed I could even do. But I followed their plan, their nutrition and workout plan, like it was a religion, right? I just like stuck to this plan.
Wow.
And by doing that and really changing the way I thought about food and types of food, I really made some drastic changes. And in the course of that, I really started to fall in love with weight training, working with weights, interval training, so getting off the treadmill, you know, getting into the weight room, which is scary for a lot of women, I know. And when I was able to make these changes, I wanted to share that with other people. And not so much, you know, the young girls who we think that, you know, they're in the gym with their tight ass and everything already, you know.
Going, why are you here?
They need to work on it too, but, you know, a lot of people, once they have kids or they get older or they're working full time, they feel like I have no time. It's not going to matter to me what I do. I'm big boned. I don't have the genes. And when I saw what you could do with diet and exercise on my own body, I said, well, I need to share this with my friends and with other women. And so I specifically started training, I'll call it older women, you know. So I was in my late 30s at the time, so probably 35 and older. Because I think a lot of people that age feel like there's nothing they can do. And it does get harder as we get older, but of course you could still work on it and you could still make great progress and really make big changes.
Now, what do you think was the hardest thing? Because I know I've gone through periods where I go to the gym regularly, then I don't go to the gym for 2 years. You know what I mean? And for me, it's a challenge. And
Right.
what did you find? How was it that you got to the place where you were like, I'm dedicated to this?
Yeah, so one of the things I did actually, and this is probably good for a lot of people, is I actually did all of my workouts at home. So I didn't have a huge facility and, you know, infinite equipment and all kinds of machines. I had a treadmill and I had a weight bench and I had a rack of dumbbells, which I accumulated over time. So I did everything there. So I didn't feel like I had to get out and get to the gym. You know, I could just get into my basement. But at the time, I had a baby, right, and a 4-year-old. So I got up early every day, and I did my workouts before. Also, I was working full time. So before work, so I would get up and I would go down, have my coffee, go downstairs, do my workout from probably about 6 to 6:45. It doesn't. You don't have to work out for hours and hours.
I think that's the biggest problem too. People just can't stay motivated.
Right.
And I guess if you start having results, you feel better about it. But it's easy to fall off of that and, you know, get really kind of you know, what's the point? I'm getting up at this hour. I'm not noticing anything. And I think as you age, it's harder to see the results.
So a lot of people give up too fast, right?
Right.
You're not going to see a result in a week or you know, even 2 weeks. So you have to give your plan at least a month, and you will start to feel better, even if you're not, you know, losing 10 pounds and, you know, needing to buy new jeans right away. But you are making progress, and you are getting your body healthier, and you're starting to build muscle, and you're doing good things for your heart. So even though you're not seeing it right away, you can't say this isn't working, because it really is.
And to that point, I remember watching someone doing a fitness video, and they were like, it didn't take you a week to put this weight on. So don't think, especially if you've had a baby, you've gained weight for 9 months.
Yeah,
and so when you go to lose it, at least give yourself some time to, you know, lose it. Or at least get some of it, get your body back a little bit, you know?
So one of the biggest things I recommend is make your workout schedule like it's an appointment, right? If you have a doctor's appointment, you have, it's like your job, right? You wouldn't just say, oh, I'm not going to go to that today because I don't feel like it. You know, your doctor's office will charge you, your work, you might lose pay. You have to go. So you have to kind of schedule it in like it's something important.
How do you do that? Like, 'cause that's the mindset, and it's like I have no willpower. Like I just don't. And so I know if I went a couple times and I didn't feel like it, I just wouldn't. So how do you get past that mindset?
So once you start to make it a habit, it almost becomes part of you. And then when you don't go, you'll miss it. Like when I don't work out, sometimes I'm at the age now where I need rest days, so I try to have my weekends as the rest days. But sometimes I feel like, you know, I need to get that energy out. And so it really does become habit. You just have to give it time. So it's like you have to force yourself for a given amount of time, a couple of weeks. And then you start to, even though you think, oh, I'm not seeing it on the scale or I'm not seeing it in the mirror, but you'll kind of crave that feeling that you get when it's over.
Well, and you said in the beginning, like, what got you motivated was the fact that you started doing it with your girlfriend, who was sort of weightlifting and working out for those reasons. So I think in certain instances, it might help if you have a workout buddy.
Right.
And in other, you know, it's like, nah,
It gives you the
I can do this.
accountability, you know?
Yeah, but that person can't be that go-to person who's like, yeah, okay, well, why don't we go have a drink somewhere? That's me. You know, it's like, oh, okay, we could do that, but.
Right. So that's why working out in the morning is a good thing. For me, the morning really works well because I feel like I have to get up anyway. So if I get up an hour earlier, I'm getting up anyway. But after work, I'm done. You know, I learned a long time ago that I was not going to be working out after work. So you have to make a plan that works for your schedule. Like if you really say I'm not a morning person, or you know I'm not a night person, then schedule in the time. And it doesn't have to be 2 hours at the gym and you know 45 minutes. It really doesn't have to be this huge time commitment that's going to take away from your life. And if you think about these days what people are doing with their time, Facebook, you know, Twitter, all of your social media, TV, you know, what are you doing at night? So if you're awake till really late at night, which I'm not, I get up early and I go to bed early, but you know, maybe at 7 o'clock you can do a little half an hour workout instead of watching TV.
Well, and how important is nutrition, in your opinion, to
it's very
the exercise
important,
part?
Right? So I've heard theories that it's 80% of the equation. So 80% nutrition, 20%. It's more like 10% is your workouts and 10% is genetics. Like there's just some things you're not going to be able to change. But 80% is your nutrition. So, you know, that's good and bad. But so I eat 5 meals a day, a breakfast, a snack in the morning, lunch, another snack in the afternoon, and then dinner. And they're not, you know, when I say 5 meals, that's not, you know, sitting down to a meatball sub and a pizza and a turkey dinner. You know, they're small portions. But when you think about that, that's 35 meals in a week. So 80%, you know, you still have there's some meals in there that you can you can have your sub, you can have some pizza. You don't have to think like every meal I have to eat perfectly. So there is some leeway in that. But consistency is key, right? You can't come home every night and just say, oh, I had a bad day, I'm gonna have a 6-pack and a pizza, and that's gonna be my one bad meal, because that's a really bad
What if it's light beer?
So that
And
is,
a veggie pizza.
so alcohol, that is one of my, my personal weaknesses. You know, I like to have a glass of wine. But really, if somebody's goal is to lose fat and lose weight, alcohol is probably the biggest enemy. And it doesn't matter if it's light beer or
Right.
it's
No, I'm teasing.
vodka.
I get it.
A lot of people think that. You know, you see them drinking the Mick Ultra,
Right.
because it's
Yeah.
only 2 carbs, and
Yeah. It's
your
beer.
body treats the alcohol like a toxin, which it is, and it focuses all its energy on getting rid of that. So fat burning on hold. So if you're drinking every single day, you're pretty much never burning fat.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So, and the more you drink, the longer it takes for your body to cleanse that out of your system. So if you have this huge binge drink over the weekend, your body could still be dealing with that a couple of days later. So
Wow.
everything you kind of ate for the rest of the time. And believe me, it's a struggle, because we all feel like, oh, I just need to have this glass of wine and it helps me relax. And
Right.
so sometimes we eat or drink because we're bored, or we just feel like we deserve it. But finding something else to do during that time is always a good idea. So go for a walk, listen to music, find your favorite show, just find something to kind of distract you from that feeling.
Can you give us an idea of some snack substitutes, things that are good and healthy for us that we might not think of, that, as you said,
Yeah.
on the go? Because a lot of us are busy, we're running here, we're running there,
Yeah.
and McD's, I can just pull in and, get this
Yeah.
quick, and then...
So always be prepared, right? Planning is going to be your friend. So nice, healthy snacks are always fruits and vegetables. I can't say enough about vegetables. Like, if you can make one change in your diet starting right now, it's to eat more vegetables. Nobody eats enough vegetables, including me. So I'm trying to find new ways to get vegetables into my diet, forcing spinach into my smoothies, or whatever you have to do. But so raw unsalted almonds are good. Buy a big bag and divide them up into a snack bag. Fruit, apples, bananas, they're handheld, 100 calories. The original 100 calorie pack. Little things of carrots and hummus, and you don't have to buy the prepackaged ones. Do it yourself. Save a little money. Find things that you enjoy eating, right? If I tell you to eat carrots and hummus and you hate carrots and hummus, well, you're not going to eat those. You'll buy it and you'll get your bag, and then it'll rot in your drawer. So you have to find things that work for you, and you have to be realistic with your goals. But you want to have. You are trying to make a change, so you have to actually change something, right? You can't just say, well, I'm not going to eat carrots. I'm going to continue to eat my 100-calorie Oreo packs because they're only 100 calories. Yeah. And so here's how one of my training clients that I worked with, this kind of really resonated with her when I talked about the types of food that your body can use. So you can have 100 calories of Cheez-Its or Oreos or whatever comes in a handy little package, or you can have a banana. Each are 100 calories, right? Should be the same. One's probably really low fat, the other one's really low fat. Same amount of sugar, same amount of carbohydrates. But your body is meant to process bananas and fruit and apples and vegetables. This bag of processed chemicals, it has no idea what to do with it. So guess what? It goes right into your fat stores, right? It's just your body can't even deal with it, and now you don't feel good, and you have a sugar crash, and so all of these bad things, and the food companies market it to people, to busy people. Yeah, they make it pretty. They make it sound easy. Oh, it's only 100 calories. It has to be good, but when you're making your food choices, you have to think: does my body know what to do with this. Is it going to be fuel? Is it going to be energy? Or is it just going to go to my butt? So,
Right.
and I think when you start thinking that way, you automatically make better choices. Like every time you sit down, you're like, okay, do I want this greasy cheeseburger with, you know, a big platter of French fries, which it always comes with, or, you know, should I get the grilled chicken salad? You know, and you can sprinkle some bacon on there, make it fun, but that's like so much of a better choice that your body is just going to be like so much happier.
Right. And I think that's an interesting point that you make about how you view it, because I do think that that makes a difference. If you see it as a diet, it
Right.
almost seems restricting.
Right.
But when you see it as a lifestyle choice, it just seems a little bit more,
Right.
you know,
so
doable.
you're choosing what is best for your health and body. And you can have your burgers, and what I recommend, if you crave something, say you love cheeseburgers, make it at home. Then you know exactly how big it is, you know what's in there, you know they're not filling it with I don't know what they put in the burgers at the restaurants, but geez, those things are good, right? They're all like running down your
Yeah, I know.
So something about that tells me that I could probably make something just as tasty at home and satisfy my burger craving. And the same thing with pizza. Make it on a flatbread with, you know, just a sprinkle of cheese and fill it up with vegetables. We make pizza at home and it's like a mountain. It's all vegetables. So if you really crave something like that, you can have it. You just make it at home and know what's going in it and
Well, we've talked
enjoy
a
it.
lot too about diet and nutrition, but from a fitness standpoint, do you have any like go-to exercises that you think will really burn the most weight off, or
Yeah.
you see the difference the fastest?
So a lot of people think that you have to do pure cardio, steady state cardio, get on a treadmill, jog, walk. That actually isn't the best way to burn fat or to make a change in your body. I mean, you might get smaller, but you'll be a smaller version of the exact same shape, right? So the best way is like interval training. So do something high intensity. So say you do have a treadmill at home. A lot of people have treadmills or ellipticals in their home. Just mix it up. Instead of getting on there and putting on your show, like this one, which you should put on.
Thank you. Good plug. Yeah, good plug.
You can mix it up. So you do a minute fast, like fast, and then you do a minute slow. A minute fast, a minute slow. And I'm telling you, the 30 minutes goes by so much faster that way. So whatever you pick, or if you're on your treadmill, you do, every minute you can increase your incline, or you can increase your speed. You can go from walking to running and then back down. So anything that kind of confuses your body and makes it think like, oh my gosh, she's not just doing the same 30 minutes on the treadmill that we've done for the last 6 months.
Right, that makes a difference.
That definitely makes a difference. But you want your heart rate to go up and down, so that really increases your fat burning. And then if you really want to change the shape of your body, I can't say enough about training with weights. And a lot of women, girls think, oh, I can't lift weights because, you know, I don't want to get big. I don't want to
I don't want to.
I don't want to be
Yeah,
bulky.
yeah.
Trust me, this really makes me laugh because, and they say, well, I saw this bodybuilder woman and she didn't get that way accidentally. She didn't just like pick up a little dumbbell and like suddenly have all these muscles. People that look like that work for it. And when you're seeing it in magazines or wherever, that's a very prepped look, right? So they worked for that really hard. But for the general person, lifting weights is awesome. And I would lift weights all day rather than go on a treadmill for a half an hour.
What do you think a good routine would be? Like how much cardio, how much time in weight training?
Yeah. So what I would recommend for someone, depending on your time, so ideally you can do 6 days a week with 1 day of rest, and you do 3 days of weight training and 3 days of cardio. But if you can't do 6 days, then just kind of scale back. Or you could do both on the same day. Do your weight training first, 20 minutes, say, 20 minutes on like a step mill or something that's, you know, going to really challenge you. You really want to end up sweating.
Right.
But
okay.
and another thing that happens with women is they feel like they're weight training, but they're really not lifting heavy enough, right? So they'll walk in the gym, you know, they'll do some bicep curls, and it should be hard, right? It should feel like a workout. You know, you shouldn't feel like, oh, I could do this all day. You shouldn't, right? So don't go in and pick up a 50-pound dumbbell and think you're going to be curling it or hoisting it over your head. But don't go to the little pink weights, the little 3-pounders, right? You know, pick up something that you can do 8 to 10 to 12 reps with, and go with that. And for everybody, it's different. So a lot of people say, well, how much weight should I use? It's
Right.
like, well, I don't know, because I don't know how many you're doing. So you want whatever amount of reps you're doing, you want the last couple to be challenging. So if you decide I'm going to do 10 today, then you need to find a weight that at 9 and 10 it's a challenge. And that's where you really see the changes in your body. You know, you see the girls on the TV with the, you know, the curvy shoulders and the nice arms and shapely legs. That's from weight training. You don't get that from jogging. You don't, you know.
Right.
And then another area that everyone is worried about, especially as we get a little bit older, I'm not looking at any of you, I'm just knowing myself, is our butt, right? We want our butt to be where it's supposed to be,
Without
right?
an implant.
So, yeah, squats and lunges are always
Those are dirty
the
words.
go-to. I know.
Yeah, no, I don't care.
I know. And then you just have to
one of
make
my-
sure that you're doing your form properly, which is why I recommend seeing a trainer, whether it's
Right.
you know, whoever it is. And anyone who goes to a gym, there's always trainers available, but they will show you what to do and how to do it properly. So
Well,
you
it's
don't get
actually
hurt.
kind of funny. Like I've taken a few yoga Pilates type classes and you don't feel like you're doing anything. But when you have an instructor that'll walk around and they'll kind of place
Correct
you
your
differently, you're
poses,
like,
yeah.
oh, okay, now I know why we're
yes,
doing these. Like now I'm hurting, you know?
Right,
Yeah.
that's true.
And it's true, right? So it's a
Right.
really good point that you can do the same thing all day, but if you're doing it
Right.
wrong, it just doesn't matter.
Right,
You know?
and you run the risk of getting hurt.
Right.
Right. So if you're doing a shoulder exercise, you want to make sure you're actually working your shoulders. But what ends up happening is we lean back a little bit, and then
Our
you're
ears
actually
and our shoulders
you're
touch.
actually working your chest more. So having someone actually show you what to do. But there's if you're already comfortable with weights or in the weight room, and you know you can go online and there's plenty of workouts to do. That's what I kind of do to mix things out for myself. You know, I kind of get into ruts, so I'll just go online and just pick someone's workout or.
That's interesting.
And
yeah.
force myself to do it.
Right.
That's the other thing. Having a trainer or someone, even a workout buddy, forces you to finish.
Yeah.
Right. If you're just looking at a list of exercises in your house, it's easy to be like, I'm not going to do the last set. But when
I'm
you
not
have,
doing that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you have that accountability with someone else there with you, then it's really more motivating to finish.
That's true. So how do people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about fitness or training or what you do exactly?
So I have a website. It's called, so my training business is called Longevity. And
Oh, I like that.
thank you. And my website is www.lift4longevity.com. So lift for longevity.
Oh, I love
Nice.
that.
Thank you.
It is.
Yeah, and you
Because
can
it's
reach
not
out through
just about losing weight. It's not just about the number, right?
Exactly,
It's
yeah.
about, you know,
Yeah.
having and living our best lives.
So that's actually how I picked the name, because it isn't really about being a size 2 or, you know, we want to be able to carry our groceries in when we're older, or if you have to move a chair, or, you know, there's maybe not always going to be someone there to help you, and you want to be able to do these things on
And
your own.
remember,
and live
muscle weighs more than fat or like.
It takes up
Yeah,
less space.
but it takes up less space.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
Yes.
like, don't look at the scale thinking, oh my gosh, and
Exactly.
but you're buffed and you're toned.
Right.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
okay.
So go buy your clothes. How your clothes fit is a much better gauge than your scale. So
Yeah,
that's
for
always
sure.
a good way to judge your progress. You'll know once you start really eating all your vegetables and your lean meats, and you become consistent with it, your tummy gets flatter, you know, you feel like you'll notice it in weird places too, like your rings will be looser, and you know, you probably like, who cares about that? But then you know it's working. And it always
Right.
starts in places you don't care so much about, like your rings and watches.
Right.
But it eventually works
My
its way
earlobes
in.
are so much thinner.
Yes, I was noticing that.
Oh, well, you're awesome. Thank you so much, Andrea, for
thank
giving
you.
us some tips and giving the folks at home some tips.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is
it's
really
great.
fun. This is really fun. Well, that concludes our episode of The Loft. Thank you so much for joining us. And as usual, make sure you view local and join us next time.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.